Hey guys, so check this out. Check where I am. I am, in a muddy mess up in a lift. I got in the background the mountains of Vermont here. Camel's Hump is way back there. You can kind of see it. And but on the way in this morning, I started wondering, who's watching my videos and what's going on in your lives. Out of the few people who are watching this every day, I ask myself, are you okay? What's going on in your lives? Like, seriously, are you feeling like lonely? Are you feeling depressed? You feeling a sense of like anxiety about the war in Ukraine? Or are you feeling like broke and you can't make enough money and your bills are stacking up and you're getting further and further behind on your bills? What is the crisis in your life? Is there a crisis in your life? All right, have you come to the place where you're going to start calling it a crisis? You're going to call it for what it is, and and then what are you going to do about it? Are you going to keep trying to white knuckle it through it like I did for so long? Is thought I could beat addiction and being broke because of my addictions and alcoholism, and I just kept white knuckling it, saying I'm going to pull myself up by my bootstraps and I'm going to take care of this, that I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. Well, I just kept banging my head against the wall, never really getting anywhere, and I didn't either. And what a really, looking back, what a remarkable place God put me into, where I fully came to a point where I had to surrender, because it was either I was going to die, I was headed to jail, or I was going to I was going to find a solution. And the only one solution I could find was to turn my life over to God. And like David, the shepherd's boy, when nobody wants to fight Goliath, and Goliath stands 9 foot plus tall, and he is egging these people on, saying, send somebody, send somebody, send somebody. And nobody wants to go and fight Goliath. And who shows up with the small little shepherd boy in David? And they're trying to put armor on him, so he can go fight, so he can go over and fight this Goliath, and he's like, no, that armor's not going to do me any good. It's too big, it's just going to weigh me down. My armor comes from my faith in God. And so he picks up the stone, and I'm sure you know the story. He takes his little slingshot, and they whip it around, and he lets go of that stone, and it hits Goliath square right in the head, and down goes Goliath. And when we start to believe in the strength of God, and then we start to apply that in our lives, here's the thing. God knows what we need. He knows the stone we need, but he also knows that the enemy has a weakness, and he knows what that enemy's weakness is. You got to think, he actually was the creator of Goliath as well, right? He created that giant, so he knew that giant's weakness. He knows what giant's in your life. He knows the Goliath in your life, whatever it is. He knows what it is. He's just telling you to come and trust in him, that you trust in him to pick up the stone and go after Goliath, your Goliath, whatever it is, and then you're going to trust God that he's got you finally to a place where you realize you're at your crisis has come to an unmanageable position, and you're done trying to manage it yourself. So what is it that you're trying to manage? Fear, depression, anxiety, loneliness, alcoholism or drug addiction, gambling, pornography. What is it that you realize that you continually cannot manage? It's time you turn it over to God, that Goliath in your life be dealt with. Deal with it. God knows what the enemy's weakness is. He knows how to combat it, but you gotta lay it down with, first and foremost, at the cross. You've got to have trust that God has got it. You must understand how big he is, and whatever problems you have, I promise you, he loves you. First and foremost, he loves you, and he wants to help you. He's just sitting there waiting for you, just like any parent would with their child. You would just be like, come on home and I'll help you. Let me help you. But first and foremost, that child has to come home and ask for help, has to be willing to be helped. And if they're not willing to be helped, they're still just out there in the wilderness. And until you're ready to come out of the wilderness, to come home, to get in his loving embrace, these things are not going to get better in your life. In fact, they're only going to get worse. It's time to come home, to pick up the stone of God. Jesus Christ is the stone. And he will defeat Goliath, and he knows what Goliath's weakness is. I promise you this. He knows. So whatever's going on in your life today, lay it down at the cross. I beg you to come to Jesus Christ and understand what it feels like to know the peace of God like you've never understood. Peace that surpasses all understanding. The love of God is so palpable. I am so thankful that I know who He is, that I spend the time each day to get to know Him even deeper. It's just changed my life, and I want you to know there is hope in Jesus Christ. There is hope in the Savior. So please, if you like what I got to say, leave a comment. Comment what you need prayers on. Let me pray for you. I am here to pray for you. Leave me comments and I will pray. You know, hit like, hit subscribe, but more importantly, I'd like to know how to help you, to come beside you, to pray for you, and I can't do that unless you let me know what's going on in your life. Y'all have a blessed day.